Good, good, Sharon.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you're joining us from. And welcome to this Whatever the Challenge ICCA webinar. So, over the course of the next hour, you will be getting the opportunity to meet, of course, myself and 8 of my colleagues. So, you're very lucky. But equally, we're just as lucky to be meeting with you today and hearing from you. So, we'd like to start by doing just that. So, we invite you to enter into the chat your name, perhaps the name of your company or job role and the country where you're joining us from. That way, we'll get a bit of a feel for who everyone is who's joining us, even if we're not able to see you right now. So while you do that, I'd like to thank you also for sharing some of your challenges in the registration form for this webinar. And they can really be summarized into the following kind of top three buckets of challenges, let's say. So the first one is economic, geopolitical, and market uncertainty, of course. The second is growth, bidding, and business development. And the third is capacity, resources, and operational pressures. We all seem to be facing challenges there too. So we do hope to address at least some of these challenges today. And meanwhile, it's great, yes, if you can please share a little bit more information about yourselves in the chat. That would be great. There's a little chat icon. It should be on the bottom bar of your Zoom window. So you will be hearing introductions from my colleagues as each of them speak. It's going to be quite a quick fire round of lightning talks, if you like. They will go one by one. Each of us will highlight one or perhaps several challenges that are prevalent and important, followed by a solution that is proposed by ICCA. Please don't be shy. After each colleague has spoken, they'll each be speaking for a very short period of time, 3 to 5 minutes. You'll have the opportunity to ask a question via the chat. Um, and also, do know that at the end of this webinar, you will be receiving a takeaway document with all of the solutions that are included and topics that we're discussing today. And that will include also, QR links or other links for more information. Okay, so you can look out for that after the close of the webinar today. Now, we're going to kick off with Alex and then Dermot. They are actually connecting from Oman today, where we're having our Middle East Summit. And so they will be able to stay only for the next maybe 10 to 15 minutes, which is why you're going first. So, Alex, over to you.
Sharon, thanks a lot. Indeed, we are connecting from the ICCA Middle East Summit. However, in Jordan, Oman is basically next door, but nonetheless a very beautiful region, and of course, great being here, having so many industry colleagues in the room as well. And thanks, of course, everyone who have joined here. As Sharon mentioned, we have other commitments afterwards immediately, having a live session here in Jordan. So we will not stay for the entire course of this webinar. So apologies for that. But I am, of course, happy to start with advocacy and sustainability. And I'm not sure who is controlling the slides. Sharon, I guess that will be you or Cindy.
Me.
So yeah, okay, perfect. So we can maybe start, and I would maybe like to start with a question that I believe many of us have encountered in one form or another, and this is when a minister of finance or a finance official looks at what we do as an industry, as the business events industry, at international congresses, at association meetings, and of course the whole infrastructure which we have built, and asks the question, what is it that is actually delivered for us? And then the question is, what do we say, right? And for too long, our industry's answer has been dialogue spent figure. We've been talking about this actually this morning in Jordan as well. And that number is, of course, real. And obviously, it matters. But it's not the answer that governments are looking for anymore. They're funding outcomes. They are funding innovation ecosystems. They are funding talent pipelines, international positioning, and so on. And the kind of things that justify long-term investment in convention infrastructure and destination support. The knowledge transfer that happens when 3,000 cardiologists convene in a city and spend 3 days maybe exchanging the most current research, the trade relationship that open an industry association holds the World Congress somewhere for the first time. And these, policy influence that flows when a scientific body brings its governmental global community together in a capital city. None of that, unfortunately, shows up in delegate spend figure, and that invisibility is a political liability for all of us. So this is why ICCA has placed advocacy at the heart of its strategy, and I've joined ICCA just very recently to drive that topic together with sustainability, and I'm very happy that we have so many colleagues who have been working on these topics already in the past. The thing is that ICCA doesn't, see our industry purely as tourism, and it's not purely events. But we see our industry as instruments of foreign policy, of national development, of scientific development and diplomacy, if you will. And this is a different conversation entirely. And this is the one we need to be having. So building a narrative on this topic. And to support all this, ICCA has the GlobeWatch analytics platform, which I'm sure you're quite familiar with, that gives destinations the data to make their case with rigor. And recently, we've also launched the governmental meetings program, which provides data on meetings organized by governments. And I'm pretty sure Pratmesh will probably mention it a little bit later on as well. So all of this to say that we are already building this narrative. And we are in this conversation, of course, not alone. ICCA works actively with the Exhibition Conferences Alliance in North America and the European Exhibition and Event Industry Alliance in Europe. We're part of both of these organizations. And because advocacy at scale, of course, requires coalition, we are not able to drive this topic all by ourselves. It's the whole industry ecosystem which needs to be part of that conversation. And when destinations, cities, venues, and associations align around a shared argument, that argument becomes structurally harder for governments to ignore. And of course, our role in these coalitions is to ensure that the international association meeting sector is represented whenever the decisions that affect us are being made. All of this benefits, of course, directly our membership. And now I would like to change the slide and go more into the sustainability, which is, of course, a huge topic also being driven by ICCA in the past, but even more in future. As you know, the sustainability conversation in our industry has changed and changed faster than many of us expected. It used to be framed only as responsibility, maybe. Do the right thing, reduce your footprint, report your emissions, and so on. And that framing, of course, was not wrong, but it was insufficient because it positioned sustainability as a cost, which is something you do alongside the real work. What we are seeing now is, of course, different. Associations are building sustainability requirements into their bid criteria. Funders and governments are requiring verified credentials from destinations they support. And of course, the upcoming EU regulation, but not only the European Union is doing increased regulations on this topic, will of course make this non-negotiable for a significant portion of the European market within the next few years. And destinations that are measuring and reporting are now building a structural advantage, and those who are not will find themselves losing mandates quietly before they, fully understand maybe why it's happening. So ICCA's response to this is not aspirational; it is operational. We are a co-founding signatory of the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative, and with this, we provide our members with a globally recognized framework, which is, of course, also aligned with the Paris Agreement. And it's not purely a pledge; it's a working methodology. It gives destinations, it gives organizers, it gives associations something they can actually use in a bid conversation or in front of a government funder. So all of this to say is that we are now at the turning that same rigor inward, and ICCA is being active on the sustainability front for years, as I've mentioned, across events, partnerships, and member programs. And what we're doing now is to bring that inward together. So we are, bringing this into our events department first. And the events department already introduced a sustainability procurement policy as the first concrete step. And in 2027, we plan that we would actually have the baseline year for our emission measurement across the whole organization. And we are with this, we are not asking our members to do something that we are not doing ourselves. So sustainability is not a constraint on our industry's growth. And if you handle it well, of course, it's one of the strongest arguments. So with this, I would like to finish my presentation. And of course, I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Alex. Just to note that for those of you who are having trouble with the chat function, we're trying to fix that now. So you should be able to ask any questions shortly. So we'll perhaps move on to Dermot and come back to you, Alex, if there are any questions.
Sharon, we have one hand raised from Julianne Salten. Maybe she wants to ask something.
That would be great. Is she able to speak?
Yeah, she is.
Could you maybe repeat her name,
Yes,
Cindy?
Julianne Salten.
Julianne, would you like to ask a question? You can unmute yourself with the audio button on the bottom left-hand side of the Zoom bar.
Sorry, no, there was no intention for me to say anything other than that the chat function is not working, and just by now I was able to say something. So yeah, but no comment on that. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for letting us know. We're still trying to fix the chat, but if anybody else would like to ask a question, please raise your hand on the bottom bar. You can see raise hand, and Cindy will be able to allow you to speak. Okay, so that's for the future. Okay, well, I don't think we have any questions for you, Alex, so let's move over to Dermot.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks.
Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm with Alex here. So I'm Dermot Ryan. I lead on association engagement for ICCA. And My role really is to support associations and make sure that what we're providing for associations is relevant for them. And I'll talk a little bit later about how we actually do this, but maybe we can go to my first slide. Just want to talk about some of the challenges that associations are facing. So we do a association meeting needs and trends report each year. And these are some of the key challenges that came out of that. And there are also key challenges that when I talk to associations at events, at IMEX or other shows, that people talk about and tell me about. I think they're not going to be any surprise, and they kind of, a lot of them align with what people actually put in the comments when they were actually registering for this, especially 2 and 3. So the first one is financial pressure. Meeting revenue is a huge part of revenue from meetings that associations organize. It's a huge part of the revenue stream for associations. So this is, you could say, a profit center, and they use this revenue to fund so many other projects that aren't money generating. I always say that associations are not for profit, but they're also not for loss. They need to make this funding to support other initiatives. So understandably, finance is going to be a really big concern for them, particularly in recent years where we've seen lots of rising costs. So this has been a huge concern because it causes the question for many associations, the viability of everything they do. And it's all about their mission and what they're trying to achieve. As associations, you know, for example, if you're a healthcare association, ultimately you're trying to improve the outcome for patients, for example. So it really goes to the very center of what they do. Also, for sponsorship, particularly for medical associations with increased pharmaceutical compliance, it's got more complex in many ways to generate sponsorship revenue. So this is also a concern. And of course, there's competition. Every year there's more associations, there's more association meetings, there's national meetings, there's regional meetings, there's global meetings, there's specialties, there's subspecialties. So people can't go to everything. So also between associations, there's, you could say, a friendly competition sometimes for meeting revenue, meeting attendees. So these are like key financial pressures. I think the risk pressure will be no surprise to anybody at the moment. I mean, key ones, of course, are the geopolitical climate at the moment. And we're at the moment, as Alex had said, in Jordan, and you know, it's a region that's really been very resilient, but obviously is really affected by recent developments here in the Middle East. But there's many other risks as well. I mean, climate risk, the pandemic. I mean, I think this woke people up to how our whole industry could in some ways be shut down, and many, many more. So I think associations are much more sensitive to risk. And I think particularly after COVID, I think often when taking choices on where to go, the process I feel is more rigorous now. They're taking more care of this. And I think also, and we had a session, an event around risk just before IMEX. And, you know, now there's conversations about, of course, about associations writing risk into their RFPs. So I think you're going to see a lot more of this in the future. That we're going to be asking, associations are going to be asking venues, destinations, how do you manage risk? How do you help us manage our risk? And the third point is really capacity pressure. And as I mentioned earlier, this came out. You know, associations are often small teams, very passionate teams doing an awful lot. If somebody is sick or if they're on maternity leave or if somebody leaves, this can create huge pressure on the team. Also, you're working with a volunteer governance. So even though associations are small, sometimes they're also very complex. They've got a whole governance system. And a lot of it, the governance changes every, 1-2 years. So there's also kind of an impact. And also in terms of skills, there's association executives are very, very busy. So anyway, they can be helped. It's acquiring information, which ICCA also tries to help them with, but it's also helping how you can help them, support them when they're planning and delivering meetings. I'll give 2 examples, technology, but also, and Alex mentioned it, sustainability. If an association comes to a venue and they've got a sustainability plan in place and they can help the association directly implement that, then this is a huge competitive advantage. Can you move on to the next slide, please? this is just looking at some of our solutions, both for associations and just also some feedback comments just for our members. In terms of the solutions that we're providing, ICCA provides education that's both in person and also through webinars, and we provide learning resources that are downloadable. We build community between associations because it's very important for them to learn from each other and find out what's going on. They have similar issues. And also, very importantly, also with ICCA members, because we're all collaborating together. And ICCA is the only organization that really brings everybody together. So it's very important for us to have everybody in the room. We always say that ICCA members can learn from associations, but associations can also learn from ICCA members. So it really is an exchange. There's some icons, but some images below. I'll just briefly summarize. We produced publications, like in the last year, we've done our meeting needs report, which is downloadable in the ICCA portal. If you're an ICCA member or if you're in an association, you can contact the associations team. We also did an event food waste toolkit and also event mental wellbeing toolkit. Our face-to-face meetings are very important, highlighting 3. We do an association circle meeting before IMEX. This year, we've got the Future of Healthcare meeting in September, which is for healthcare meetings, and we've got our Congress in Panama. So these are an opportunity to meet associations and to be part of that collaborative process. And we've also got some business workshops, which are one-to-one business meetings organized between members and associations. So this is part of our whole offering. And what we've also introduced are masterclasses for associations targeting specific areas. We have the Association Impact Masterclass, which will be in Luxembourg next month. That's a 2nd edition. And this year we're launching the Association Pharmaceutical Compliance Masterclass. Very long name, very important topic. And that will be in Düsseldorf in December. And just to finish, I mean, what associations really want, they want collaboration and they want partnership. So it's not just listing, these are all our specifications, square meters, how many direct flights are there to your destination. These are all important, but they're factual. You can just send these. I think they want that conversation. So look at the impact. What impact do associations want to create? And then try and help them. Understand their challenges. You saw the challenges previously. It's not easy to solve them, but you can engage in a conversation about how you could maybe help them in some of these areas. Can you help them with risk management? Can you help them with sustainability? How can you help them control their costs? Do you have active suggestions for them? Proactively reaching out to them. And as I say, engage in a conversation, listen and reflect. And finally is the power of in-person. Meeting associations at meetings, attending ICCA meetings, getting into conversation with them is a really good way to find out in a kind of a non-commercial environment what associations really want and what they need. So thanks very much for joining, and thanks Sharon and Cindy for organizing.
Super, thank you, Dermot. The chat is now working, everyone. So if you would like to share any messages you have in there, just make sure that you list to everyone when you send your message. We will pick up on those. So thank you, Alex and Dermot. I know you have to rush off. Enjoy the rest of the session, the Middle East Summit in Jordan. I'll get it right this time. Super. Okay, can we move on to my next colleague who will be taking the floor? I believe it's Hea.
I think it is. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. My name is Gea. I'm part of the Europe team as a regional manager, where I look after the UK and Ireland, France, Benelux, and Nordics chapters. And therefore, I've decided to share with you a challenge and a best practice of one of our members, Visit Faroe Island. They were working on a strategy where they see their visitors as their guests and their island, the Faroe Islands, as their home. And they were very struggling on how to find the DNA of their own hospitality. So their aim was to create a develop a hospitality promise that perhaps consists out of 5 to 10 amendments. And they want 80% of their industry to have signed and completed some courses with badges displayed as their establishment. And to To achieve that, they are working together with a university where all of the participants receive diplomas. So how did they get there? So Cindy, if we can move on to the next slide, please. So first, of course, they they decided on a strategy, and then they decided to gain insights from guests. And they did this through social media engagement, and mainly through Instagram and Facebook. And they asked them certain questions like, what was so special about your visit to the Faroe Islands, and how did it make you feel welcome? And by doing this, they gained real experiences and real thoughts for people that have visited the Faroe Islands as well. Also, they got the public input from the residents of the islands through their own Faroe Island websites. And they asked them the same question: what makes us so special, and what does our hospitality stand out for? So then they started working, once they've gathered everything and they started working together with both the residents and the visitors, they came up with an implementation, which I shared a little bit earlier, which was getting everybody there that works there certified, which was really great. They have, I think, they received about 80% of the island's hospitality members with a certification. And they're also looking into implementing this a little bit later next year when we're doing our our ICCA Nordics chapter meeting to the Faroe Islands, where they also gonna work with the visitors' experiences there and make sure that we see some workshops that made the Faroe Islands the way they are. So this was basically in a nutshell a best practice that I wanted to share. Also looking at the time. So if there are any questions, I will be very happy to welcome.
Thank you, Hea. Do we have any questions for Hea? Welcoming Magdalena. Thank you for sharing, introducing yourself in the chat. Okay, I don't think we have any questions for you, Hea, but thank you for sharing that. Best practice, very interesting. Super, let's move on to Ratmesh.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I am Prathamesh. I lead the technology initiatives at ICCA. Cindy, if we can move to the first slide for the technology initiatives. So we already cater to a lot of our member needs through our flagship business intelligence platform, which is a comprehensive platform that is a data set on international association meetings, which has more than 300,000 plus meeting editions, which consist of more than 14,000 plus associations. And what we also encourage our members is in terms of understanding what kind of opportunities suit you. Probably you can build relationships by learning, understanding what kind of meetings have been held in which kind of locations, and probably what kind of attendance has been catered to in what kind of meetings. So all data driven insights could be derived through this platform, which is our legacy business intelligence platform. But the key part that we want to focus on today is given that technologically also we are moving forward, and there has been a lot of our member queries in terms of how do we create business value out of all the data points that we are collecting, how do we add business sense to it. The key challenges that have been highlighted to us by our members is there is a lot of information overload in terms of understanding how do we use all the data points, how do we bring it together. The second part is there is also a cost associated in terms of uh, whenever a particular business development team or a research team applies for a bid, probably not every team is going to win that bid which they have applied for. So there is a cost component related to it, there is a time component related to it, and there is a fatigue component also related to it. And given that technology advancements have gone so much advanced, how do we integrate all of these technological advancements into creating a solution that helps all our members in terms of advancing their businesses? And that is where we have come up with this initiative of announcing ICCA Business Intelligence Pro version. So Cindy, if we can come to the next slide. What we are saying in ICCA Business Intelligence Pro is a bifurcation of advanced technological initiatives into three parts. One is the ICCA platform, which is an intelligent RFP platform. The second is economics, which is your strategic insights engine, which can also be used as a part of your advocacy tool, where Alex was mentioning about multiple kinds of reports that we are generating in terms of that can be used as an advocacy tool for your requirements. So probably that is an insights engine that we have developed under economics. And given the geopolitical situation, we understand that a lot of meetings are now going to be concentrated within a particular region. And that is where creating a new database which caters to national association is also important for us. That is where we have announced all these three solutions under ICA Business Intelligence Pro. The ICA BizWin, which is the RFP intelligence platform, economics, which is your strategic insights engine, and national associations database, which gives access to a new market. Today, we'll be going deeper into the ICA BizWin platform, which is the RFP intelligence platform. So, Cindy, if we can come to the next slide. So, one key difference that I want to point out is on the ICA Business Intelligence platform, which is our legacy platform, there is a RFP section that you see right now. The RFP section that is there caters to a limited number of meetings which are strictly association meetings, which have a fixed meeting attendance criteria, which have a rotating criteria. But on this platform, what you can see is any meeting that has an RFP which falls under the domain of association meetings, government meetings, sporting championships, conferences, exhibitions, any meeting that has an RFP which is listed on its official website, outside of corporate and incentive meetings, every RFP outside of those kind of meetings are listed on this platform. Not only there is a wide array of meetings on this platform, but what we also do on this platform is create a profile, understanding that we have collected a lot of data since the last 60 years. What we are saying is we as ICA understand you as a destination, we as ICA understand you as a venue, we as ICA understand you as a convention bureau. We have gathered all the data globally and created a profile for you in terms of highlighting your strengths, your capabilities, what are your preferences in terms of attracting events. And not only the RFPs that are listed there, we give you a certain confidence score in terms of understanding what is it that will attract the most confidence in terms of approaching that RFP. And we are also giving a one-click bid strategy document with all the data consolidated together in terms of how do you position your destination, given that all the data has been consolidated together, given that there is a match in terms of your destination strengths, your capabilities, and your preferences of what kind of meetings do you want to attract. And probably all that information can be downloaded, and probably you can use that document as a starting point towards your bid preparation document. So coming to the next slide, the reason why we started this initiative was we wanted our members to take a data backed decision making process, where through this platform we have categorized the confidence score for each of the RFPs that are listed on this platform with a certain score. So what we are recommending to our members is probably you need to only focus on the first two slabs of confidence scores, which are more than 70% plus. What we are saying is if a particular RFP opportunity has more than 85% confidence score, we are saying that because of all the data and all the matching that has been done in, we are saying that probably it's going to be a priority pursuit for you, and probably you should allocate all your resources and efforts into developing that opportunity for your final bid preparation. And probably the second slab, which is more than 70% but less than 85%, is probably we are seeing some data gaps in terms of what is a particular requirement that still needs to be fulfilled, but probably it can be a strategic pursuit for you. And so we are recommending that our members take only action based on the first two tier slabs, which have a higher confidence score of more than 70%. And probably in the first go, we are recommending that all RFE which are there on the platform, which have a confidence score less than 70%, probably you can ignore them because we do not see the right match happening for your destination, your venue, based on all the data that we have collected and based on all the global benchmark data that we have seen. Through this process, what we are trying to do is create a data backed decision making process that all our members can use. We are trying to make the whole bid journey efficient, right from discovering the RFPs, not only discovering the RFPs, understanding which RFPs are important to you, also giving you a starting point in terms of creating your bid preparation journey document. All this taking into consideration that there is a data backed approach towards it, and every data that is being used for creating this percentage confidence scores is being utilized in terms of improving the performance and improving the matching scores that are coming in for every RFP opportunity that is being listed on this platform. So this is what we have created so far, and probably if you want specific demos, you can reach out to your regional managers, or you can reach out to the ICCA team. We'll be happy to give you a demo into detailed demo into each of these products. But I'll take a pause here right now for any questions that you might have before we move on to the next speaker.
Thank you, Pratmesh. Anyone who has a question, you can share it in the chat or raise your hand. Thank you for that, Pratmesh. It really covers, I believe, 2 of the 3 of the challenges that you shared with us, namely growth, bidding, and business development, and also capacity resources and operational pressures. We think these tools will be really helpful in both of those instances for you. Okay, thank you very much, Pratmesh. Let's move on to Hemeke.
Thank you, Sharon, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I'm excited to see some familiar faces online, so that's always good to see, and many new names. So very nice meeting all of you today in this very special webinar we're doing together. My role at ICCA is really all about making sure that you stay up to date. A question for you to take back home maybe after the webinar is, do you feel ready for the future? Do you feel that you are sufficiently equipped with the right skills and competencies to do your job properly? I'll be honest, I don't think I am. So we do need to find ways in training ourselves and training our members and partners in such a way that they are ready for 2030 and even beyond. According to the World Economic Forum, probably you know this organization, 39% of the skills we are having or using today will be obsolete in 2030. So that's a big number. The question is, of course, what are then the emerging skills? What are the skills we need to have in 2030 to be professional enough and to be future-proof? So this is where ICCA can help you. This is where we as a team are working in creating what we like to call a lifelong learning journey, where we bring you content, education, training to help you through that personal journey that you may have. So one of the things we do is, like we see today, is the webinars. We do events, as you heard from our colleagues as well. But one of the major events we do is what you see here on the slide is our ICCA Congress, which takes place every year in a different part of the world. So last year we were in Porto, in Europe, in Portugal. This year we're going all the way to Panama. Next year we'll be in Rwanda in Africa. The year after in Oman. So just saying this so you can save the dates in your agenda for the next years. But the main thing what we're trying to do here in Panama, as you can see, the title is about crossing the worlds. In order for you to be ready for the future, we do need, or we feel that you need to cross more your world with other worlds, whether it's the world of your client, whether it's the world of other industries, whether it's the world of policymakers and politicians. So ICCA is going to try to bring in all these different worlds into Panama's world, whereby that during 3 to 4 days, you'll be able to meet the world of ICCCA, for instance, the world of AC Forum, the world of SCIFT, the world of UN Tourism, the world of a very important bank in Latin America, and so on. So really kind of trying to open your mind here. But of course, you know, we're not only doing it ourselves. Sin, if you want to go to the next slide, please. We also want to invite you to join us, because one of the learnings, and this is what ICCA really tries to do, is listen to the members. What they really need is that last year in Porto, we heard that there were not enough networking opportunities. So we went back to the drawing table for this year and said, like, how can we make sure that when people connect in Panama, that there is sufficient time to network? So we created a new event, if you like, within the Congress, which is called the Intentional Networking Session. And this is where we allow people to gather together in smaller groups and to connect on one specific topic which they find interesting and important, and network through that topic in that session. So you could also call it a workshop, you could call it a lab, you could call it kind of a one-on-one, where it's how to do business in this country, how to get closer to another kind of client of yours. You can imagine all kinds of topics, but I'm inviting you to think about this if you are considering coming to Panama, or if you're not yet but might want to join. We're actually having a call for ideas running at the moment till the end of the month. So do check out our website, and we'll be more than happy to welcome you in Panama with your networking session and see what we can do together. So if you have any further questions about education at ICCA, do reach out to either Cindy or myself, and we'll be more than happy to help. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Hemike. Does anyone have any questions about Congress or about other events that are taking place? Otherwise, we can come back to them perhaps. We can move on to my colleague Cindy.
Thank you, Sharon. So hello, everyone. My name is Cindy Cerros, and I am working along with Hemeka. I am the Education and Impact Coordinator at ICCA. And today I would like to talk to you about ICCA Unit. I would like to talk to you about a challenge that maybe you have noticed in many students that they are facing at this moment when it's about understanding the meetings and events industry. The challenge that they're having is really simple. It can be really difficult for them to understand the industry or simply to know where they're going to start. At university, as you know, we learn a lot about theory and important concepts, but many students are still wondering, how does this industry work in real life? How can I meet people that is working already in the industry? Where can I find useful and real information about the industry? Or simply, where can I get experience and find opportunities for myself? So this is exactly what ICCA Uni can help. ICCA Uni is a project that was created by ICCA in 2024 with the purpose of connecting the students with the global meetings and events industry. And ICCA Uni gives us three important pillars. First, knowledge. As you can see, through webinars, learning resources, industry experts, you can even learn about current trends and understand how the industry is working right now around the world. Second, connections. You know that working in this industry, connections are extremely important to build your network. So through my ICCA, which is a tool that we have internally for students, they can create profiles, they can connect with the students from different universities around the world. They can join conversation and become a part of a global community. They also have, my colleague Pratmesh was previously mentioning about the ICCA Business Intelligence Tool. This is a database with real information about international associations meetings. This helps them explore destinations, discover trends, and support their studies with real industry data. And third, which is really important, opportunities. ICCA Uni offers networking activities. At this moment, we have also drop-in sessions for our current students for ICCA Uni, which helps them to connect with each other, to explore different activities or engagement programs for them, and internship opportunities that help them to gain practical experience with, as I see, they're lacking for practical experience. So if the challenge for them is finding the way into the meetings industry, ICCA Uni is definitely the solution because it gives us knowledge, connection, and opportunities to start building the career while they are still a student. I would like to ask you if you have any question for me before I pass to the next speaker.
Thank you very much, Cindy. ICCA Uni is indeed a very important topic for ICCA, but also for the future, I would say, of our entire business events community. So it's my turn now.
Sorry, Sharon.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I just see one question in the chat actually for Cindy.
Great. Dominique asked, how can we register students for ICCA Uni? Who would like to take that? Cindy?
Yes. You can contact me directly. I will leave my email by chat and I can give you the steps. Normally it's through me or through Hemeka as well.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Great. So it's my turn now. So I'll introduce myself a little bit more formally. So I'm Sharon Ashton and I work alongside Hemeke, Cindy, Marco, and Josiane in the education team. So I'm responsible mainly for all initiatives directed towards young professionals. And I work closely with Cindy and Hemeke on our student engagement programs, as you've just seen. I'm also responsible for our professional certification programs. You'll be hearing from Josiane shortly about those, and our tailored trainings and masterclasses. But today I'm going to be focusing on a global challenge in the events industry, namely talent and workforce retention. So we all hear a lot about the next gen and intergenerational collaboration, but what does that mean? What does the next generation see as the future of our industry? And how are we, as more experienced professionals, coaching, but also listening to young professionals? What do we see changing? What are the challenges ourselves, and how are we challenging ourselves to work in new and different ways? So we really all, I believe, feel the need to adapt to each other and find more effective ways of collaborating. And one of the solutions that ICCA proposes for this is the ICCA Young Professionals Forum. So this forum is an annual event. This year it will be held on Monday, the 16th of November. Let's see if I can say this, at the Casa Convalescencia venue in Barcelona on the pre-show day to IBTM. So it's open to all age groups in the spirit of intergenerational collaboration. So we'd really like a nice mix between more younger professionals. By young professionals, in the context of this event, we're talking about those who are 35 years old and under. And then, of course, more seasoned leaders to participate. So we're developing the program with a group of young professionals from around Europe. And we're launching actually the program later today. So stay tuned on the website for more details. And if we move to the next slide, Cindy, you can see where to register. You can follow that QR code for more information. And also, to give you a little bit of a sneak preview at the program and what you can expect, we will be having a career mapping exercise. We will be talking about the skills of the future. There'll be a job matching exercise based on your personality type. We'll be delving into the topic of CVs. Is the CV dead? What is the future of CVs? The hiring process. So from screening and interviewing. So really challenging the norms and delving into the future of these topics. So, of course, lots of other networking opportunities, table discussions, and debates will be taking place all day. And you'll also receive a free kind of resources document at the end of the day as a takeaway. So if you are interested, please do check out this information and either register yourself or encourage one of your team members to do so. As I said, it's just one day before the IBTM show starts, and it is one of ICCA's flagship events. It is always popular and places are limited. So if you are interested in joining, please do register soon. Okay. Are there any questions in the chat? Let me see. Thank you, Cindy, for sharing your email. Any questions about ICCA Uni can be addressed to Cindy. Otherwise, feel free to keep sending questions as they come along, even if it's not on the exact topic. If something comes to mind, please do share. We'll do our best to respond. And otherwise, I will hand over to Marco.
Thank you, Sharon. I have a question for the audience. Do you consider yourself as new in the industry, looking for guidance, maybe? Or do you consider yourself, I was going to say old, but I'm not going to do that, experienced, but then I heard Sharon mention the word seasoned, which I like very much. So do you consider yourself a seasoned person within the meetings industry, maybe looking for fresh perspectives? If so, then we have, I think, a very unique and very nice solution. So if you can go to the slide, please, to show the ICCA Lift. ICCA Lift, learn, inspire, flourish, and thrive. ICCA Lift is a wonderful, unique reverse mentoring program that we have developed. And we're very privileged to have the best possible ambassador for ICCALift in our audience today in the form of Sherry Lee, calling in all the way from New Zealand. So thank you, Sherry Lee, for dialing in for this particular meeting. And Sherry Lee is a really good example of somebody who in the beginning thought she was new in the industry and was looking for guidance. But I'm now happy to say that she has already moved on to the next phase and is now already actively mentoring other mentees. Because this is really what ICCALift is all about. It's the reverse mentoring program where you can apply, you can indicate your interest, and then what we will do is form pairs. One mentee with one mentor. We'll do the selection based on criteria like time zones, a sector of the industry you're working in, personality maybe. And then we form the pairs for you to have a one-on-one mentorship relation. In ICCALift, what happens is that there are personalized bi-weekly online calls taking place with the mentors and the mentees. Really a two-way traffic, of course, where the mentees learn lots and lots from the mentors, but vice versa, the mentors learn quite a lot from the mentees in terms of new, fresh perspectives and new ways of working and other ways of looking at things. So it's really a very valuable exchange in that respect. We can move to the next slide, please. And then I will just quickly mention what what you can expect if you join the ICCALift program. Apart from the one-on-one mentorship, we'll have two exclusive masterclasses for the ICCALift community. We have, for instance, a masterclass scheduled on the topic of leadership and resilience, beginning of July. This is specifically for the ICCALift community, so another reason to join. Apart from the masterclasses, we have the networking, of course. For instance, also, we try whenever possible to have personal meetups like we had recently at IMAX. For this particular group of Lift participants, there will be a physical meetup at the Congress in Panama. So this is also a way for you to really get the networking as a part of the ICCALift objectives. We provide you with a global exposure through the ICCA channels as being part of the ICCALift initiative. So overall, there's lots of opportunities apart from the exchange with your mentor or your mentee to really become a part of the ICCA community and to show, which I think is really unique for ICCA, that there is always a room for exchange between people who can be sometimes their competition, but in most cases can be their really friends and colleagues. And I think that's really what makes us strong. The call for the next group of ICCALift participants will go out in the third quarter of this year, so please look out for that. And we would love to invite you, all of you who are participating in this webinar, to consider joining this ICCALift reverse mentoring program in the future. So thank you. If you have any questions, I'm here, but otherwise we'll move on to I think the last speaker. We've saved the best for last.
Great. So I'm the last and best speaker. Let's see. Josiane Lima. I'm certification program coordinator at ICCA. And after my colleague's presentation, I think it's pretty clear not only after our presentation, but our industry. Cindy, can you please move to the next slide? Our industry is very complex and demanding, involving multiple stakeholders, long-term strategic planning, and it also has an increasing expectation for long-term impact. And in this fast-paced world and industry, covering topics like sustainability, digital transformation, and advanced bidding strategies becomes essential. So the real challenge for business events professionals is how do we truly understand the association sector and position our destination to win and stay relevant? So our industry requires specialist learning and strategic alignment. And I personally truly believe that to educate ourselves and continuously learning is always the solution for every challenge and also situation in life. So the EcoSkills program was developed to help the industry to overcome the skills gap. And actually, in this call, we also have some participants of our previous EcoSkills classes, being Hea, my colleague Hea, one of our graduate from CICS. And Cindy, can you please move to the next slide? I will briefly introduce you or let the new people know about EcoSkills. So it's a certification program developed by the industry for the industry to build practical competency-based skills aligned with global business event standards and the real-world industry needs. So if you are a beginner or even more seasoned, EcoSkills has a specific learning path for each of you. And what can you gain from our EcoSkills program? So it will give you the right tools to understand our changing industry, covering topics like geopolitical uncertainty, risk and crisis management, economic and social impacts, and also sustainability. Well, that's always good to talk about sustainability in today's world. And it will also equip you with leadership, collaborative problem solving, and analytical skills. In our classes, virtual or in person, our instructors also cover in a very dynamic way topics like bid briefs and bid strategies, and also best practices to win more business in your destination. So if you are interested in our EcoSkills program, please don't miss the opportunity to join one of our next classes. We will have two classes this month, one for the specialist level in Beijing from the 22nd to 24th June, and the second one it will be in Luxembourg, the executive level. It will be in the 29th June to 1st July, and also executive level in Kigali, Rwanda, at the 31st August to 2nd September. And if you don't have the opportunity to fly to one of these destinations, we will also be relaunching our EcoSkills online course for the CICS level this September. So you are more than welcome to join us. And if you have any questions or you want to learn more about EcoSkills, you can visit our website, ecoskills.org. So before I pass to my next, well, not the next speaker because I'm the last one, but my colleague to wrap it up, I would like to ask if you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Josiane.
Thank you.
Super. So please feel free to continue the dialogue with us. You've met us all now, so we do look forward to continuing the interactions with you. And this concludes our webinar for today. So we do hope you found it insightful and useful. As I said, if you have any other questions, you have in the chat already Cindy and my emails. We can always field your questions to other colleagues if relevant. But if not, we will close the session. And as a reminder, you'll be receiving in your inboxes very soon a resources document highlighting all of the initiatives we have discussed today. So on behalf of me and my colleagues, thank you very much for your time and goodbye.